and gentlemen, let me tell you something that will change your life if you let it. You are already sitting on a gold mine. That's right, not gold buried under your house, not a gold mine hidden in a vault. I'm talking about the gold mine between your ears, your ideas. Now listen closely. Every single invention, every thriving business, every fortune ever made, it all started with an idea. But here's the truth. The ideas by themselves are not enough. Ideas don't make money. Ideas sold the right way make money. It's not about having $1 million idea. It's about knowing how to present it, how to position it, how to package it, and how to sell it. Ideas alone don't create wealth. Persuasive communication does. This is a truth that many people overlook while sitting on incredibly valuable ideas. The world is filled with individuals who have breakthrough concepts, revolutionary innovations, or life-changing solutions, but never see the fruit of their vision. Why? Because they never learned how to communicate the value of their idea in a way that compels others to act. Having a brilliant idea in your mind is like having a treasure chest locked away in a room that no one knows exists. Until someone can see it, understand it, and feel its value, it remains hidden. And hidden value never translates to wealth. The marketplace does not respond to what you think. It responds to what you say and how you say it. Your ability to articulate your idea, to bring it to life in someone else's mind, is what determines its actual worth in the real world. It's not about how much sense your idea makes to you. It's about how much sense it makes someone who's never thought about it before. That's the power of persuasive communication. It builds a bridge between what you see and what others can believe in. Consider this, the difference between $1 million pitch and a forgotten concept comes down to messaging. Two people can have nearly identical ideas, but one walks away with funding, customers, and traction, while the other walks away with disappointment. The difference isn't always in the idea. The difference is in the way the idea was communicated. When someone is able to clearly identify a problem, connect emotionally with their audience, and cast the vision for what the solution can achieve, they unlock the potential buried in that idea. That's where wealth begins to form. Not in the originality of the idea, but in the clarity of the communication. Persuasive communication is not manipulation. It's not trickery. It's not about using fancy words or gimmicks. They see the strength of It's about understanding human nature, understanding what motivates people to take action, what causes them to trust, and what makes them believe that something is not only possible, but worth investing in. It means speaking to the real needs, fear, hopes, and desires of your audience in a way that resonates. The goal is not to impress people with how smart you are, but to inspire them with how relevant your idea is to their life. Most people try to sell ideas by dumping features, facts, or technical jargon. That never works. People don't buy information, they buy outcomes. They buy transformation. So if you want to communicate persuasively, you need to frame your idea not in terms of what it is, but in terms of what it does. What problem does it solve? What pain does it remove? What future does it create? These are the questions that draw people in. And when your communication answers them with conviction and clarity, you position your idea as something of undeniable value. The marketplace is crowded and attention is scarce. In this environment, ideas don't sell themselves. You have to make people care. You have to make them feel. And that comes from mastering the art of storytelling, the science of persuasion, and the discipline of strategic messaging. Persuasive communication is the multiplier that takes a good idea and turns it into a compelling opportunity. It creates the context in which people are willing to listen, consider, and commit. It doesn't just open minds, it opens wallets. Value is perceived through presentation, not just innovation. This principle is a cornerstone of successful entrepreneurship, sales, and communication. No matter how innovative, useful, or brilliant an idea or product may be, if it is not presented in a way that makes others see its value, it will likely be ignored, undervalued, or rejected. People do not respond to ideas solely based on their substance. They respond to how those ideas make them feel, what those ideas represent, and how they are packaged and delivered. This is why average products often outperform exceptional ones in the marketplace, because the average product was presented better. The human brain is wired for perception before logic. This means people form emotional impressions before they analyze data. If the presentation of an idea is unclear, messy, or uninspiring, people will assume the idea itself is flawed. On the other hand, if something is presented with confidence, clarity, and strategic framing, it immediately feels more credible and more valuable. Even if beneath the surface it's relatively simple, the perception of value begins long before the function of a product is tested. It begins with the way it is introduced. Think about luxury brands. Often the actual product isn't drastically different from a more affordable alternative. And a $5 white dollar shirt and a $200 designer t-shirt might be made of the same cotton. But the packaging, the branding, the visual identity, the story behind the brand, all of these elements contribute to how people perceive the value. That perception is what drives pricing, demand, and status. The same applies to ideas, services, and offers in any field. When you elevate the presentation, you elevate the perceived worth. Presentation is not limited to visual aesthetics. They see the strength. It includes language, tone, timing, structure, and emotion. A strong presentation answers the question that every potential customer or investor is asking: why should I care? Why does this matter to me? If your idea is presented in a way that speaks to those questions, you instantly stand out. But if you only focus on the technical details or the internal brilliance of your innovation, you risk losing your audience. The people don't buy things they don't understand, and people don't understand things that aren't presented clearly. Presentation also determines how easy it is for someone to share your idea with others. When your message is well structured and emotionally resonant, people become messengers for you. They repeat what you said, they share your pitch, they spread your concept. This amplifies reach and influence. But if your idea is confusing, overly complex, or poorly framed, even those who support you will struggle to communicate it on your behalf. The presentation is what makes your idea portable. It allows it to move beyond you. Innovation still matters, but it only becomes profitable when it is seen and appreciated by others. Many inventors, creators, and thinkers make the mistake of believing that their work will speak for itself. They think the quality idea is enough, but ideas don't speak. People do. And people are influenced by how something is communicated to them. The more intentional and strategic you are with presentation, the more likely you are to create the kind of emotional impact that moves people to take action. First impressions count. In many cases, the first few seconds of exposure to your idea, whether it's in a pitch meeting, on a sales page, or during a conversation, determine whether someone stays engaged or tunes out. If you can cap tension and create intrigue right away, you earn the opportunity to explain more. But if your presentation falls flat, your innovation will be overlooked no matter how groundbreaking it is. Selling is serving. Solve, don't push. This is one of the most misunderstood truths in business and communication. Too many people think of selling as manipulation, pressure, or convincing someone to do something they don't want to do. But real selling, transformational selling, is none of that. It's not about pushing a product or forcing a transaction. It's about solving real problems, meeting real needs, and delivering real value. When done right, selling becomes one of the most honorable and impactful things you can do for another person. When you truly believe the solution you're offering, selling it is an act of service. You're not just exchanging goods or services for money. You're helping someone move from pain to relief, from frustration to clarity, from confusion to confidence. You're identifying a gap in someone's life or business and offering a bridge to get them across. That's not pushy. That's purposeful. People buy because they want change. They buy because they're seeking transformation. When you understand this, you stop trying to sell people on what your product is and start showing them what your product does for them. This shift in mindset changes everything. Instead of trying to convince someone to buy, you listen. You ask questions. You find out where they're stuck, what they're struggling with, and what outcome they're hoping for. Then you present your offer not as a demand, but as a solution. When you position your offer this way, you're not interrupting their life. You're improving it. You're not a salesperson showing up with a pitch. You're a guide showing up with an answer. The most successful entrepreneurs and marketers understand this at a deep level. They don't wake up every day thinking, how can I sell more stuff? They ask, how can I serve more people? How can I solve bigger problems? Because they know that money is a byproduct of value creation. If you create enough value in someone's life, the sale happens naturally. When people see that what you offer is the fastest, easiest, or most trustworthy path to their desired outcome, they want to buy. They ask for it. They tell others about it. That's the result of serving. Not serving through selling also builds trust. When people feel seen, heard, and understood, they lower their guard. They begin to believe that you care about them, not just their credit card. And that belief turns into loyalty. It turns into referrals. It turns into long-term relationships that are far more valuable than one-time sales. This is how reputations are built. This is how businesses grow. It's not through pressure. It's through alignment. When the offer aligns with the need and the message aligns with the heart, the sale is a natural conclusion. This approach also keeps you in integrity. You're never trying to talk someone into something they don't need. You're not relying on tricks, discounts, or fake urgency. You're standing in the truth of what your product or service can do, and you're offering it with boldness and humility. That level of authenticity attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones, which is exactly what you want. You don't want every sale. You want the right sales. The kind that leads to transformation, testimonials, and impact. In this way, selling becomes a mission. It becomes a way to empower others, to uplift communities, and to expand influence. The moment you see yourself as a servant, not just a seller, is the moment your conversations begin to shift. You stop chasing people and start attracting them. You stop sounding like a pitch and start sounding like a partner. And that's when selling turns into something far more powerful than a business skill. It becomes a calling. Imperfect action beats perfect hesitation. This is a principle that separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck in potential. Far too many people are waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect product, or the perfect conditions before they take action. They keep refining, tweaking, overthinking, and preparing, all in the name of excellence. But excellence without execution is wasted energy. Action, even if it's messy or incomplete, They see the strength in it. It creates movement. It creates momentum. Waiting for perfection delays growth and postpones results. Hesitation is the silent killer of dreams. It's subtle and often disguised as wisdom or prudence. They shows up in phrases like, I'm not ready yet, or I just need to do a little more research, or once I feel more confident, I'll start. But the truth is, confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence is a byproduct of action. You don't become confident by thinking about doing something. You become confident by doing it, fumbling through it, learning from it, and getting better with each step. Action leads to progress, and progress builds belief. There is no such thing as a flawless first step. Every successful person started before they were fully ready. Every entrepreneur launched a product that wasn't perfect. Every speaker gave a talk that wasn't their best. Every author wrote a rough first draft. The difference is they moved. They made a decision to act with the information they had, knowing that real feedback, real growth, and real success only happen after the starting line. The faster you get into motion, the sooner you begin to learn what works and what doesn't. Imperfect action opens doors that hesitation never will. It creates opportunities you couldn't predict and brings lessons you can't learn in theory. There are things you'll never discover about your audience, your market, or your message until you show up and start sharing it. When you put your idea out into the world, even if it's raw or unpolished, you give yourself something to improve. You create a version 1 that can become version 2. But if you stay in planning mode, you stay in the abstract, and nothing changes in the abstract. People don't get paid for plans. They get paid for execution. The world rewards people who take initiative, not just people with good intentions. You can have all the strategy in the world, but never launch. You never press is publish. If you never make the offer, it stays locked inside your head. Meanwhile, someone with less experience, less preparation, and less talent is out there taking action, gaining traction, and creating results simply because they were willing to move before they felt ready. This doesn't mean being reckless or acting without thought. It means learning to trust that progress requires movement. It means understanding that every successful outcome is built on a foundation of trial, error, adjustment, and persistence. It's okay if your first version isn't your best. It's not supposed to be. The goal of action is not perfection. It's momentum. Once you're in motion, you can steer, pivot, and refine. But none of that happens if you stay still. The fear of making a mistake is what keeps many people from stepping forward. But the bigger risk is not taking the step at all. Perfectionism masquerades as high standards, but it's often just fear in disguise. Fear of judgment, failure, fear of looking foolish. But failure is not fatal. Inaction is. The only way to learn what works is to test, launch, and adjust. Those who move imperfectly gain insight. Those who wait endlessly stay stuck in theory. The path becomes clear when you start walking on it, not before. People buy transformation, not information. In a world flooded with content, data, and endless resources, the value of pure information has decreased dramatically. Anyone with a smartphone has access to more knowledge than entire generations before them. But access to information does not equal change. People aren't struggling because they lack information. They're struggling because they don't know how to apply it, how to move forward, or how to experience results. That's where transformation becomes the real currency of value. When people spend money, they're not paying for the features of a product or the number of lessons in a course. They're paying for the outcome they believe that product or course will help them achieve. If someone buys a fitness program, they're not buying videos and workouts. They're buying the version of themselves that feels healthier, more energetic, and more confident. When someone signs up for business coaching, they're not buying Zoom calls or worksheets. They're buying the future where their business is thriving, profitable, and growing. What matters most is not the content itself, but the EO change that content creates. This understanding radically shifts how offers should be created and communicated. Instead of focusing on the technical details or the knowledge you're providing, the message should center on the emotional and practical shift your audience is looking for. What are they escaping from? What are they trying to become? What does life look like after they've gone through your process? When you speak directly to the desired transformation, your offer becomes magnetic. It resonates with what they feel, what they want, and what they hope to overcome. Most people do not make buying decisions based on logic. They make them based on emotion, then justify them with logic. Emotion is tied to transformation. People want to feel something different than they do right now. They want relief, progress, clarity, confidence, growth. If your offer can clearly show how it bridges the gap between their current state and their desired state, it becomes compelling. It becomes necessary. You're not selling a product anymore. You're selling a better version of their life or business or identity. This is why simply teaching information isn't enough. If someone can Google it, they won't pay you for it. But if you can show them how to use it, how to personalize it, how to implement it in a way that gets results, that's where the real value lies. Transformation comes through process, through guidance, through strategy that simplifies the complex and makes the impossible feel achievable. People want direction, support, and clarity, not just data. This principle also explains why people are willing to pay more for coaches, consultants, and programs that offer real support. They're not just paying for access. They're paying for accountability, structure, and insight that leads to transformation. They want someone to help them move through resistance, doubt, and confusion. They want someone who can shorten the path to the result. That's worth more than a library full of information. That's worth investing in. If you want your ideas, services, or products to sell, you must position them as tools transforming. That's not just education, but elevation, not just knowledge, but change. Speak to the before and after. Paint a clear picture of life on the other side of the purchase. Help your audience feel the difference it will make in their life. When people can see themselves in the transformation your offer provides, they will be far more likely to buy, to stay, and to share it with others. Learn to position, package, and present your idea effectively. This is a foundational principle for anyone who wants to turn their ideas into income, their message into impact, or their product into profit. The best idea in the world, if not positioned correctly, will fall flat. If it's not packaged in a way that feels relevant, accessible, and desirable to the intended audience, it won't be valued. And if it's not presented with confidence, clarity, and conviction, it won't gain traction. The way an idea is introduced into the world often determines how far it will go. Positioning is about understanding where your idea fits in the mind of your audience. It's about framing it in a way that makes people instantly understand its relevance and its uniqueness. People don't have time to figure out why your idea matters. You have to tell them, you have to connect it to their world, their problems, their goals. If your idea isn't anchored to something they already care about, it will be dismissed, not because it isn't valuable, because it wasn't positioned properly. Positioning is about creating context. It's about showing how your idea solves a problem better, faster, or differently than what they've seen before. Packaging is what gives your idea its form. It's how the idea is structured, branded, and delivered. Think of packaging as the clothing your idea wears when it steps into the marketplace. Is it dressed in a way that commands attention? Is it easy to understand? Is it visually appealing? Is the message consistent across every touch point? The way your idea is packaged can increase perceived value instantly. People judge by appearances long before they dive into substance. The tighter the packing, the stronger the first impression. And in a crowded market, first impressions are everything. Presentation is the act of delivering your idea with power and precision. It's your ability to communicate not just the logic of your idea, but the energy behind it. People are not just evaluating what you say, they're feeling how you say it. Do you speak with conviction? Do you communicate with passion? Do you demonstrate belief in what you're offering? Presentation is more than speech. It's presence. It's the way you show up, the stories you tell, the tone you use, the rhythm you carry. A great presenter can take a simple idea and make it sound profound. A poor presenter can take a brilliant idea and make it sound forgettable. These three elements, positioning, packaging, and presentation, work together like gears in a machine. Is weak, the whole system underperforms. If your idea is positioned well, but poorly packaged, people may understand it, not take it seriously. If it's well packaged but badly presented, they be intrigued but not moved. If it's presented passionately but positioned poorly, it may feel exciting but irrelevant. Mastery comes from aligning all three. When you can position your idea where your audience is already looking, package it in a way that elevates its perceived value, and present it in a way that stirs emotion and belief, you create leverage. This is the skill that turns ideas into movements. It's what allows creators, entrepreneurs, and leaders to rise above the noise and make their message matter. It's not about being flashy or manipulative. It's about being intentional, about designing the way your idea meets the world so that people see it, feel it, and want more of it. The market rewards clarity, not complexity. It rewards relevance, not raw genius, and it rewards those who take the time to shape their message so that others can not only understand it, but desire it.